We are in search of the rock houses, actually, which are the last inhabited cave houses in Great Britain.
Holy Austin rock houses. So there's a sign, small. Do you see them? Okay, so I just read that they were the last cave people of England, which I think is probably trying to be a little dramatic.
It starts, in the 1600s, so that's not a long. I mean, it's 400 years ago, but still, it's not. Something coming from the Paleolithic or something.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I think these were originally, they were using it because it's used a place for quarrying rock because it's super soft, right? So they were quarrying rock in like 1600s. And then I think they started to live in them in like 1777, we read.
Follow up, rock houses, 3 of them on your right, all open.
Perfect.
If you need anything, just ask.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now it's become a tourist attraction, huh? I think actually it's been a tourist attraction, right, since like 1901 or something. I think because the air was good here and like the air wasn't great in some of the surrounding areas, right?
Well, Black Country was also probably known for coal. We're actually walking around the hill where the houses are carved in.
Fletcher's house.
This is a Fletcher's house.
Yeah, Mrs. Fletcher's the picture on the table.
I see.
And we restored this house by copying that picture.
They restored it from this photo. So actually, they had that window, they had the fireplace. It's not bad.
It looks pretty darn habitable to me.
Doesn't it? I mean, look at I was expecting a dirt floor. At least they had fire. So that's one way to get rid of some of the damp, right?
You can see that the chimney goes. You can see from the outside actually that there is a brick. So I was wondering, this brick is from the chimney. They built
straight out into the open rock.
Into the open rock.
On the next level.
I see. It looks quite habitable to me.
It was. They were very cozy.
Were they humid?
Not very, no.
No.
Once they got the fires going, it dried everything out. Put your hand on that sandstone in there, it's cold. When the heat wave was on, that was still as cold as that.
Really? It stayed cold.
It's cold in the summer and warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Why do you think he knocked that hole in the ceiling?
This hole here?
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
He bought a grandfather clock and it's too tall.
So they carved out space for the clock.
Yeah.
That's great. So you could just make adjustments as you go, right? How hard do you think it was to carve this? The funny thing, you touch it and it feels like it doesn't feel hard.
And it certainly doesn't feel damp or humid. It feels so dry. So there you have another very small fireplace.
Yeah. It sounds like it was actually a fine place to live. The problem was they didn't have toilets or running water. So the state moved them out, or the county, or whoever. But otherwise, if you had modern conveniences, this would be fine. I mean, he's saying that, like, even during the heat wave, this stayed cold. You know?
I do like the fact that it's responsible with the interpretation of history. For example, this picture here, you see how Industrial Revolution really shaped the Midlands, the core of England. It transformed how families lived. What did he do for a living?
He worked at the ironworks until it closed. And then he was a farm labourer, anything. His wife made bread and took him wash it.
So both houses were connected after the fact. The Fletchers were 4, so you had 2 children, and then...
So they had a second family living here. This is a different family, or this is a Fletcher?
This is probably a different family, yes.
Okay.
And this is how they used to do
There's another restored one.
You can see the more modern supports up there. The huge space known as the ballroom was made secure with brick arches and rock bolting. Oh, so that's rock bolting up there. Windows and doors were reconstructed exactly as originals. chimneys were rebuilt and fireplaces installed, using photographic evidence and the many memories buzzing to be told. Should we go around to another one?
Yep.
I think it's funny that they decided to make conventional windows on a cave house, you know? I mean, I guess why not, but that was original, I guess.
As it would happen anywhere where you would have people living in cave houses, instead of just going somewhere and buying some lot or inheriting it and then building a house or buying a house, you would just claim a part of a hill and just carve in. That was all you needed, actually your own workforce. So it was probably a very humble beginning on all these families living here. So which family was living here? What was their name?
Well, there's Martindales, and then you got family called Reeves and Shaw and different names because they were either owner-occupiers or separate landlords. And I think they paid, in the 1920s and 30s, they paid about 7 and 6 a month. 7 and 6 would be 40p a week, something like that.
40 pence a week.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But
Yes.
you have to remember there's no toilets, no cooking facilities, no electricity, no water, no running water. The water pipe would have been out here.
And where were they cooking? And
Well, now the gas piping they were cooking. The gas was just for hot water and lighting, but they would have had a fire inside in the hearth. Yes. They would have had a fire going all the time. They would catch rabbits. The walk-in larder is like a fridge. It doesn't get above 4 degrees in there. So the washing machine is in there. Your bath is in there as well, and your fridge would be in there as well. That would be your fridge.
I see.
So they really built fireplaces, chimneys?
They had fireplace. You'll see the fireplace.
The brick chimney, though, they put brick on the side like this?
That's right. That's to because otherwise you'll see what it was like before.
It's just
Stain. The smoke is stained.
that a problem?
Sandstone. That would erode the rock as well. So then they would have put tin chimneys in, and they put stones in to reinforce the sandstone. Yeah, because it falls down in slabs. So that's a reinforcement. And that was done in 2015. That was the last thing to be done. And it's all been renewed in the last 30 years. It started in 1990 and finished in 2015, and that was excavated 2 years ago. And they possibly had a still in there to make it alcohol, because in Victorian times people couldn't drink the water because the water out the wells wouldn't be safe. So they made alcohol or beer. Like in the village, they would have sold beer from their homes. There were 20 pubs in the village.
because fermented liquid would be safe for drinking.
It would be safe because the water had been boiled. But they possibly made other things, because you've got sloe berries around here. You've got lots of fruit as well being grown. You've got apple trees, possibly made
Or cider.
cider as well. So
Yeah.
So they would have to boil the water. So that's why they had the gas piping, because they could have a permanent supply of boiled water in the 20s and 30s.
There's a whole lot of trees up there now.
Oh yes, terrific compared to what it used to be.
Was it all sort of fairly open?
Yeah.
And that-
There was only what fruit trees, damson trees and apple trees in there then.
So, yeah. I think at one time there were 44 cave houses. I don't know where the rest of them were. I think they said there were 44 of them around here, so. Maybe he's just pointing that direction. Oh, so here we go, middle level of rock houses. So I think the middle level is where they just kind of sought shelter from the elements when they were maybe working or people were visiting or. So there's a cafe on the top level, and that has a history. So it says the site became a tourist attraction at the turn of the 20th century, and the inhabitants served teas from their rock homes to visitors. A cafe continued here until 1967, long after the last occupiers had moved out. And then they says they've continued the legacy today. So the upper level of houses have been restored as a tea room. I mean, this is technically a house here, right? I mean, it's not a cave anymore, really. Some of the back is, though.
It is attached to the rock, though.
It's attached to the rock, yeah.
So, but the facade is just brick.
Yeah, but you're right, it's attached, so.
Well, here you can see where the rock
starts, and then the rest is just an annex with actual gutter for the rain and chimney and everything.
But you're right, it's attached. So, and I think if you go back in, it's probably some cave. Yeah, you can see that wall, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's some brick there too. I can't figure it out. I think the added brick is support. Yeah, that's carved out. So it's a mix, right, of carved and maybe support with some brick.
Ben, Aaron, I give you everything they need.
Okay, so it says here that inside space was determined by how much sandstone could be dug out. So rooms could be larger and ceilings higher than in the cottages or back-to-backs of towns. Rooms might then be divided as families grew. Look at this, feel this. It just crumbles.
It does.
You can see how soft it is, right?
Wow, it does
Right?
crumble.
You see how easy it would be to just, wow.
Carbonated.
Yeah. This is more what you think of a cave, like the floor being more dirt or something. They completely made things modern for the time, right? Like with the stones and the floors and the furniture. Hello. The 1861 census lists 11 families living here across all 3 levels.
Of course, the last people moved out in 67.
So why were they moved out? Why did...
Council housing came along with proper bathrooms, toilets, better living conditions and the war.
So here's the toilet. They don't call them water closets, they call them earth closets. The outhouses.
Okay, so you can see how I would just walk down and have gardens, some fruit trees and some veggies on there. So they would just have a life of subsistence in a way, right?
Funny little thing on top of the hill. It's not like it's a whole mountain, it's just this thing on top of the hill.
You used to rip newspaper and put it on a nail. Hello, welcome to the